Welcome back into the Rounding Third podcast. I'm Nick. We have Harrison and Sean with us tonight. How are we doing, fellas?
What's up, boys? Happy
Awesome evening,
playoffs.
boys.
Playoffs.
Yeah, playoffs for sure, man.
Man, it has been wild. We'll get into all the details and stuff like that. But first, make sure that you follow and like us on Facebook. You can follow us on Instagram. You can subscribe on YouTube. You can also listen on Spotify and Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. All right, so we're gonna start the wild card round, game 3, because Harrison and I were on last Wednesday, so we saw the endings of the other ones, but didn't see the Mets and Phillies because they went. Mets and Brewers because they went to a game 3, and it was wild. So 0-0 most of the game. Brewers get up with, was it the 7th? And hit back-to-back. It was a 6th or the 7th inning, hit back-to-back home runs to take a 2-0 lead. And, you can't count these Mets out. That is unreal. So top of the 9th, they have Devin Williams, best changeup in the game going. And, 2 solid at-bats. They get 2 runners on. And then Polar Bear gets up and totally redeems himself and hits a 3-run bomb, and they take the lead. And they win game 3 and move on to face the Phillies. Dude, I FaceTimed Sean immediately, and I was like, yo, what just happened?
I didn't have words for it. I was texting my younger brother, who obviously was at home. But so I was texting him, and I just kept saying, Pete's due. Like, Pete's due. I just kept saying it, and then he hit it. And I texted him like 9 in a row, just Pete is due. Like, I didn't know. I didn't have words. Like, I was speechless. I didn't know what to say. Obviously, Pete with the flowers deserves the flowers he's going to get for it, and got, quite frankly. But, man, that at bat by Lindor to start it off.
Yeah.
Just a pro at bat. And I know this is like 3 weeks in a row where it's like I'm on here going on this diatribe about Lindor. But, like, God damn it, man, the guy doesn't get appreciated enough. That is just a professional leader at bat. It's what leaders do.
Yep.
It's going to take all of us. It's not a one-man show. We're not down 1-0. I'm not going to go up and hit a home run to tie it up on my own. Like, I got to get on base. We need base runners. And, boy, what an at bat that was. And then, who was it? John Boy, I saw, did a 7.5-minute video about Devin Williams tipping the pitches.
Yep.
Which I thought was really, really well done. The video was awesome. He did a really nice job kind of breaking it down, putting the footage side by side, showing, kind of what the tipping that was taking place. And, man, the changeup is so good. It's so good, but obviously it's neutralized quite a bit when they know it's coming. And Pete sat on it. Took the first one, kind of first strike, and I remember thinking, like, it's kind of probably the best one you're going to get. Like, you're just kind of letting it go.
Got a lot of plate.
But definitely had a plan. Lucked out that he went up 3-1 in the count, and then outer half, and just the changeup just sat right there for him, and he hammered it. That was incredible. What a way to win. What a way to move on. And I had said before the postseason started, like, what that team did down the stretch to even make it to the postseason, like, I can't be mad if they go out against the Brewers. But, the Brewers are a team we talked about all year. We don't talk about enough how good this team is, the Brewers. They're solid. They pitch. They have a bullpen. And the Mets just did the thing. They did the thing. So, at this point, you can't count this team out against anyone.
No, and I think that Lindor at bat, to your point, does not get enough appreciation because a lot of players go up in that situation. They're all jacked up. They want to be the hero. They're swinging from their heels. And Lindor's up there realizing, I can't win the game with one swing, but I know guys behind me can, and I need to get on base to keep things moving. And he did exactly that. Like, he was super patient, took a couple of close pitches that he knew were balls, but he wasn't out there trying to force anything. The worst thing you do in that situation is try to make something happen. And he knew what the team needed and just stuck to the plan.
Yeah, I think it, it'd be the most understandable thing in the world, to get up there against, a top closer in baseball who has amazing stuff, who throws a lot of strikes. So you get out there and you're like, I'm going to be uber aggressive. I'm going to ambush him and, see if we can't. But again, he didn't force anything. it was a wonderful, wonderful at bat. It was one of those things where it's like, as a fan, a Mets fan, you're kind of on pins and needles. You're stressed out about the back-to-back homers that were given up in the 7th. It goes into the 9th. Devin Williams comes in. You're like, here we go. And it was an at-bat that put you at ease. I'm not going to sit there and tell you that I was confident they were going to win after the at-bat, but it was an at-bat that, like, you're just like, okay, like it's not – the moment doesn't seem too big for them as a team. Like, if the leader is up there, he's calm, he's ready to go, and it just kind of all flowed from there. Nimmo with a solid single past the second baseman, got a lot of wood on that. So, it was a wild finish to that game.
Yeah.
There's just something about them that you love to see as a baseball fan. Like that every at bat, like they're in every pitch, and they've been a lot of fun to watch here down the stretch and in the postseason so far. So let's move into this first series with the Phillies here. So Mets and Phillies divisional round series is tied 1-1, and a surprising announcement to me, anyways, was Kodai Senga starting game 1, and I'm like, what? I thought he was done for the year, but he comes in and first batter division series.
Third pitch, yeah.
Gives up a bomb to who else? Kyle Schwarber. His 15th or 16th leadoff homer of the season. I mean, absolutely insane. And I'm like, all right, did the Mets pull the trigger too early on Senga? Like that's my first initial thought. You give up a leadoff homer, and it's like, wait, what are we doing here?
Well, I mean, I think if it was against somebody that wasn't Schwarber who hit so many leadoff home runs, I'd say maybe. But I mean, Senga looked decent when he was there. I mean, he clearly was coming back from injury, but I mean, he looked okay. He didn't look like he was way off. But Schwarber has a thing with leadoff home runs, and that's like his 21st playoff home run. Now he's like he's in the top few all time for playoff home runs. Like it's what Schwarber does. He just, for some reason in the postseason, he just ambushes pitchers and hits a boatload of home runs.
So Zach Wheeler, it made his case to be a Cy Young. I mean, he's probably not going to get it because Chris Sale won the Triple Crown. But the dude was absolutely dominant. Mm-hmm. And the announcers were saying it all game. Zach Wheeler goes in, and the Mets are just sitting there waiting for him to leave the game. Just waiting. How many times have we seen that? A starter absolutely dominate an outing, and then as soon as they get to the bullpen, they just light the bullpen up. And that's what the Mets did. Top of the 8th, they score 5, pretty much put that game out of reach. But I mean, we've seen that time and time again, that a starter just comes in, mows people down, and as soon as they get to the bullpen, the hitters are locked in, and it's like a sigh of relief comes over them.
Of course it is.
Finally.
Well, we said
it's a mental game.
Yeah, and we said back in May, like the Achilles heel of this Phillies team, they're still not great defensively, but it was their bullpen. And their bullpen had a stretch where they were really, really good this year. They started off rough, they finished rough. Middle of the season, they were pretty good. But we said way back when, like that was going to be their Achilles heel. If their bullpen couldn't maintain some consistency, they would struggle because of it. And at times when they went on losing streaks, a lot of times it was the bullpen.
Yeah, they did have that stretch in the middle. There was a decent stretch where that bullpen was really good because I still think they ended the year with like top 10 or top 12 bullpen numbers overall. But they were streaky bullpen, But it's like it's almost unfair to whichever bullpen guys ended up having to come in after Wheeler, because it's not just that Wheeler was mowing guys down. It's like I imagine what the feeling would be like in that dugout. It's not just getting guys out. It's like missing bats. We can't even touch it.
Mm. It was like 29 swings and misses. I think
demoralizing.
Yeah, it was an insane number of swings and misses. So it's like, not only does he have great stuff, not only is he locked in, but he's dialed in to the point where like we can't even put the ball in play and make their suspect defense make a play. Like we're struggling so bad. So I don't care who it is. Anyone else comes in, it's like, okay, boys, we have a chance now.
Yep.
Like we didn't have a chance against Wheeler. Like we now have a chance. I don't care who this guy is. Like let's lock in and let's get it going. We see it all the time, right? Because baseball is such a mental game. And as a fan, you do it. I remember sitting on the couch watching, being like, okay, thank you. They took Zach Wheeler out. like right. And I'm not even playing in the game, but like it's such a mentally draining thing to watch a guy just shove inning after inning after inning. So, you feel the juice as a fan, I imagine, what those guys in the dugout are feeling in the clubhouse, being like, okay, boys, this is, let's not, Wheeler was incredible, right? You get some huge hits in the eighth to put up 5 and put that game out of reach. Let's not forget the job that David Peterson did coming in after Kodai Senga. For Kodai Senga hit 2 innings, right? And for David Peterson to come in and really have to be almost perfect because Wheeler was perfect.
Right.
Wheeler was perfect. So like you had to come in the 3rd inning and you had to essentially match what Zach Wheeler was doing. Was absolutely just incredible. He just did. I thought he was fantastic. And then again, get in late in the ball game and the Mets you can't count them out. It really is. It was incredible.
Yeah. Let's move on to game 2, where it was back and forth the entire game. It ended with a walk-off by Castellanos. But, I mean, Mets go up 2-0. They go up 3-0. Phillies tie it 3-3. Mets go up 4-3. Bottom of the 8th, Phillies score 3. And we're like, dang, like, here we go. But in true Mets fashion, my God, Mark Vientos gets up, hits a 2-run shot to deep left center field, ties the ball game. And then this is where I texted you, Sean, and I was like, or maybe it was in the group chat, I can't remember, but they essentially pitched around Bryce Harper.
Yeah.
Now I know it's your best pitcher. It's Diaz against Harper. It's your best against their best, mano a mano. I would go after him. I know Bryce Harper's postseason track record. I know all of that, but I want my best guy to take a shot at their best guy because I think walking a guy or pitching around him to set a tone for an inning isn't the thing you want.
The sentiment I hear with what you're saying, but my logic would be this. My logic would be if you had any other pitcher on the mound and not Diaz, and you pitched around Harper to get to Castellanos or to get, then my logic would be, well, I have my best available, right? Like I want my best on their best. My best is out there. And I'm looking at it going, this guy was down 3-0 and essentially started the rally, hits a 2-run homer before Castellanos goes back-to-back to make it 3-3. Like this offense was nervous. I mean, they struggled to score runs in game 1. They struggled to get guys on base and consistently do it in game 1, right? Here's a guy, if I have an opportunity to, yes, you're putting him on base, but if I have an opportunity to avoid Bryce Harper and now I have my best guy against their second best, I like my chances. You got to get the second best guy, the third best guy out. Like you can't pitch around Harper and then not get the other guys out because then it looks way worse. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I hear you. My thought process would be this. Diaz is out there. Diaz goes after him. And Bryce Harper, of all people, hits a walk-off homer. You're sitting there going, the hell are you pitching to that guy for? Right? I mean, that would be the first text that would come through on 1 million phones in America. You're like, what the Christ are you pitching to him for? So I hear you. But to me, I don't hate that move. I probably would have done the same thing. I would have said, be careful with him. I'm not throwing up the 4 fingers, but I'm saying be real careful with this guy.
Yeah, it's fair. I mean, in one vein, you don't want him to beat you. In the same vein, like the last thing you want to see is him be the guy that comes through clutch. He's the hero and changes the game because his energy and his confidence is infectious with that team, and that's a big moment. And he's had a lot of big playoff moments. So it's one of those things where walking him is only successful, to Sean's point, if you get the next guy. You never know if it's a good decision until after the fact. Yeah. But in the moment, I don't know that Bryce Harper's the guy that I would want to mess with in that lineup that deep in the game. Because keep in mind, Diaz hasn't exactly been Diaz this year.
He's thrown a lot of pitches lately too.
He's thrown a lot of pitches lately. He's been very inconsistent. If this was like 2 years ago, pre-injury, when he was
50-something save Diaz, then yes.
I feel differently about that. But like, he's not been that guy. Like, I would not consider him to be the best Mets pitcher right now. I mean, he's been very iffy, and having him give up a big hit in that spot would be tough for his confidence. It'd be bad for the team. And I understand the idea to walk, but you have to go and get the next guy. You can't walk him and just turn it into a bigger problem.
Yeah, it's fair. So yeah, they go back to New York 1-1. So, they flipped home field advantage there, and
Yeah,
hopefully the
I think
Mets
all
can
things
win too.
all things being equal, as sucky as that was as a Met fan to watch them kind of have the lead, give up the lead, claw back, tie it, like all that, and they lose. I mean, it obviously leaves a bad taste in your mouth. But when you think of it big picture, right? You went out there and you won 1 out of 2, which had to have been the goal. Had to have been the goal. It sucks when you win game 1, because then you get a quick taste of like, well, that'd be sick if we swept on the road and now we're back home. And then, whereas you lose game 1, you salvage game 2, it's an entirely different mindset. It's still 1-1, but it's an entirely different mindset. So, I get it, but you got to look at it and say, we did what we intended to do. We went out to Philly. We get to go home now for the first time in like 10 days, 12 days.
Yeah.
They get to be in New York. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, they were in Atlanta, then right to Milwaukee, then right to Philadelphia.
They were in Milwaukee
they get to
before that too. Milwaukee,
That's
Atlanta,
right, yeah.
Milwaukee.
That's right. So they get to go home now. So, I mean, that's got to be, you go home after accomplishing all the things you've accomplished. You're 1-1. You have a chance to win a real game tomorrow and put some real pressure on a team that is one of the favorites to win the World Series. You got to like your chances if you're the Mets. You got to like where you're at, right? You just go out and play a baseball game. You got to like where you're at.
Yeah, and the one thing I love about the Mets is that they never let up. They never quit. They never give in. They are grinding out at bats to the very last minute, and that's the kind of team that's dangerous. Like, I go back and think about like the 2004 Red Sox. Like, that team on paper was not the most talented team out there, but they absolutely wore you down and ground out. They would grind out at bats. They'd get the base hit. They'd steal the base. And that's what the Mets are doing. The Mets are built the same way. They are just going to grind it out for 9 innings. And those teams are hard because they don't go away.
Yeah. And I do like the way that Mendy has handled the bullpen. I like the moves that he's, the lineups he's putting out. And I think he seems like a manager that's very much in tune to his players and very much in tune to kind of the clubhouse overall. And I think that can only help. So you got to like where you're at. And if you're the Phillies, on the flip side, if you're the Phillies, you got to like where you're at. You probably don't like the fact that you lost game 1, but you got to be happy with the way that you grinded back in game 2. You were down, you clawed back, you gave up the lead, you clawed back again, you went it in a walk-off. If you're the Phillies, you're going, we're just getting started.
Yep.
Right? We're just getting started. We had a bye week. We haven't played in a little while. We're just getting started. Zach looks awesome. Let's go. So, I mean, you got to be thrilled. You got to be thrilled if you're the well, maybe not thrilled, but you got to be happy with where you are if you're the Phillies.
Yeah, you're not feeling bad. You're not at that point.
Yeah, and we're at the point right now where, like, all the series right now are 1-1 or 1-0 in the Yankees case. And last year we were talking about how that layoff was killing all those bye teams. So it seems at this moment that the layoff hasn't really hurt them as much because they've at least all won a game. So
right, yeah.
And
all of them except the Phillies won game 1.
Right.
Yeah.
The Phillies were the only bye team to lose game 1. So.
Yeah.
And then they lost a tough one. And then so game 3, you've got Nola versus Manaea. So that should, I think Manaea is a bit underrated. You look at his stats. He had a really good season. He's been really solid for them. That should be a pretty good matchup. I think if you're the Phillies, you feel good having Nola going. He's been very, very good for you in big moments. I don't think this Mets team cares who they're facing. They're going to continue to grind it out.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's get over to the Padres-Dodgers series. So the other National League, that series is tied 1-1. Game 1, Padres come out hot, did 3-0 top of the first, and then, of course, Shohei Ohtani, the light definitely isn't too bright for him. He ties it up
first postseason at bat.
Three-run bomb, dude.
Sad that's his first postseason at bat, though, right? Like his very first postseason at bat.
Was it his very first? I was being cheap.
I don't
think it was, right?
Was he with him when they went to the playoffs?
Huh?
Was Shohei with the Angels when they went to the playoffs?
No, Angels haven't been in the playoffs since like 1901.
That's what I
dude.
thought. Yeah,
But-
that was
It's 1901.
no,
No.
it was what 14, and then they went back. I think they went back one more time. No, Chart's only appearance was 14.
They have no. I think it was his second at bat because the 3-arm bomb was in the second inning. So,
Second inning.
yeah,
Oh,
it's
you're
the
right,
second
you're right.
at bat.
First game.
You're right.
First
First
game.
game.
But yeah,
First
second.
game.
I forgot it was in the second.
But
inning.
for all intents and purposes, that was his first at bat that counted. I mean, guys
But-
on base down 3-0.
Yep.
And he just
That ball was above the letters, and he just turned
Turned
on it and it hit
tomahawked it.
130 miles an hour out of the ballpark. Thank you.
Come
Guys,
on, Reagan's is getting
are
squeezed
free.
here. Listen, I'm sorry. Juan Soto was a good enough hitter. The umpires can't be helping him out. That's strike 3, dude.
absolutely.
Sorry, bad radio,
That's
but that's strike 3. I mean, like
Yeah.
that's strike 3.
Yeah.
He's gonna get a hit now.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Ball don't lie. All right, let's go.
So, all right. So game 1 ends with the Dodgers ultimately winning at 7-5. But game 2 is where this series, for me, has kind of flipped on its head. So we get bottom of the first inning, and Mookie Betts gets into one deep to left field. Profar goes back and reaches about 2 or 3 rows back, pulls it back, and then he's like hopping up and down like he didn't catch it, from first glance. And Mookie's rounding the bases, and Profar actually came back with it. So robbed the home run. This then led to some fan interaction. They started throwing balls and throwing stuff at Profar in left field. They had to pull the players off the field for it was a good 8 to 10 minutes.
That
until
was
they
bad.
until they got that all situated. And after that half inning, Manny Machado brings them all into the dugout and says something to them. Like it's the first time the announcers were even saying it that you actually saw Manny Machado kind of take a leadership role there and really take charge of the team. And then the Padres come out and just absolutely lay it on the Dodgers. And talking about not pitching to somebody, why do you pitch to Fernando Tatis at Dodger Stadium? He's like Christian Walker status right now. Like, don't pitch to that guy at Dodger Stadium. Don't.
He's like Manny at Tropicana. Just like don't
Yeah,
pitch to him.
just don't do it.
Yeah. So he hit 2 bombs that game. And honestly, I think that whole thing just flipped this series on its head. I would not be surprised if the Padres go back to San Diego and win these next 2.
If I'm the Dodgers, I'm scared. Yamamoto wasn't good. We thankfully won that game because Cease was worse as it came on. Flaherty was not good. Your bullpen's not been good. I mean, you've given up 15 runs in 2 games. You thankfully won one. And tomorrow you've got Buehler versus King. I mean, if I'm the Dodgers, I don't feel great about where I'm at. I'm looking at that lineup going, please guys, score 10 runs because we don't have the pitching. And if you don't score 10 runs, we're in trouble.
Yeah, I mean, we said that. We said that going into the postseason.
Oh yeah, now it's just
Right,
it's
like, I
playing
don't-
out
I don't
exactly
think-
as we thought.
Yeah, right. I don't think any of us are really surprised. Just real quick though, like at what point do we look at LA Dodger fans and just like they're the Philly scumbags of the West Coast? Because it's like you're throwing stuff on the field. I mean, and how often it's almost like every single time these two teams play regular season or postseason, there's like massive brawls in the stadium.
Yep.
Like you see it in the parking lots. It's like a regular common occurrence.
Yeah. Well, I think it all
The old
started
days of
when,
Red Sox Yankees.
yeah, when they had to bring out the riot gear. But I think it's
Bring it back.
right. I think it started obviously with the Profar robbery, and then Flaherty strikes out Machado. And they're
Machado,
barking.
and then was
yeah,
chirping, and they kept
Yeah.
chirping later. There
They
was
did.
one point where they were chirping a little bit later.
yeah. Manny was out at third, and Flaherty was in the dugout. They're
He was
chirping
at the
back
top-
and
yeah,
forth.
right.
This is becoming a really good rivalry. It is heated,
It is
and they don't
I'll
like
say
each
this.
other. Like they just
I'll
generally
say
don't
this
like
is-
each other.
probably like a dumb take that like I don't know, whatever, man. If it comes back to bite me, Bobby. Oh,
But-
Bobby. Sorry. Okay. This might be like a really dumb take, whatever. look, I get that you paid money for a ticket to be in the stadium. I don't care what that guy does, like after making an incredible play that he's taunting you. Like, who do you think you are throwing stuff on the field?
Right.
Yeah.
Like that, I don't know. I just think like, yes, I get it. You paid money, you're there to be entertained, like blah, blah, blah. But like, that's insane. Like just throwing stuff on the field because this guy made a really good play against the team that you root for, and you don't like the way he celebrated it.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But
I don't
yeah,
get
back
it
to
either.
back to the baseball part. Back to the baseball part. Dodgers are in trouble.
Yeah.
Dodgers are in trouble.
And if Michael King is just half as good as he was in his last outing in the previous series where he struck out 12.
Yeah, throwing frisbees.
Yeah.
I mean, he was
I mean, this is a way better lineup than what he faced with Atlanta, but still,
right.
I mean, Walker Buehler's been terrible, not been able to find anything. I mean, the Padres have already hit your best and they've hit it hard, and now you're throwing Buehler out there, who it feels like is a bit of a sacrificial lamb. Like he's got to go out there and just get some innings in because they got nobody else. I mean, I think the Dodgers are in trouble. Do they have the lineup to survive it? Sure, they can go out and score 10 runs any night.
Can't be comfortable though.
But exactly,
It's an uncomfortable game.
You can't feel good going in knowing you have to do that.
No, but with everything that happened at Dodger Stadium, like I said, I think it's completely shifted the momentum to San Diego. And
Sure, I agree.
I would not be surprised if Dodgers go in there and lose too. But
well, you absolutely woke up and pissed off the Padres players. Now it's personal, and those guys are are coming to the ballpark every day, looking to tear your head off. Like that's where we're at.
And that lineup doesn't need help getting going. Like, I mean, that's a good lineup too. Jackson Merrill is an absolute beast. That kid might be one of my new favorite players to watch. That kid is unreal. To come up and make the impact that he's done so far. I mean, that ball he hit for a home run last night, opposite field at Dodger Stadium. Dodger Stadium's a big park, and he made it look small.
It's no joke.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
That's a poke.
It's the West Coast Comerica.
Yeah, the ball does not travel well out there, and he absolutely hammered it.
Like, that kid's legit. So,
but I will say, like, back to the Dodgers fans' point, Sean, the Dodgers fans are always kind of a joke. They show up in the third inning, leave in the seventh. Like the ballpark was empty at first pitch and empty by the time the game was over, because it was just kind of like something to do and be seen. Where do these fans come from? Like all of a sudden you've got these people that are like showing up early. They're out of control in the bleachers. Like these aren't the typical Dodgers fans we've seen for years. Like where are they coming from?
No, in a weird way, I'm happy that there are like rabid fans. I'm not taking I'm not saying that like fans need to be like tame and like quiet and like you know whatever. I'm just saying like let's not cross the line. Like okay, was it an aggressive celebration by Profar? Sure. Like when I watched it and I was like, that was a crazy catch. Like, why are you acting like an asshole? Like, sure, I thought those things, but it's like rising to the level of having to cause like a multi-minute delay. Players have to come off the field. Like this is crazy. That's insane.
Not only that is for Profar to have the balls to go back out there and have to stand back to him and still be able to pay attention to the game. Like, I don't know if I could do that.
Yeah,
I don't know if I could do that.
I think you would because you don't have a choice. Like you started this whole thing, and now you're going to tuck tail and say I can't go back out there. Like that that puts a target on your back for the entire league. Like you're now a guy that because think about it, dude. Think about it, and not to get too serious about this whole like jokey topic, but like everybody in that locker room is laying their bodies on the line every day to go play. Right there, everyone's sore. Now I know it's not a contact sport, but you play 162 games. You're in the postseason. You're sore. You're beat up. You're tired. Right? Your back's hurting. You know your muscles are sore. And these guys are going out there and laying it all on the line. You're going to be an instigating asshole and then be like, "Oh, sorry, I'm scared. I can't go back out there." Like you don't have a choice, dude. You got to go now.
Yeah.
And if you don't, what kind of locker room guy are you? Well, so he doesn't really have a choice.
And let's be serious. A guy that has that kind of a celebration to the moment, he loves it. He's loving the fact they're screaming at him. He's loving every minute of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he rattled them.
Yeah. Oh, and you've got a whole you made one play that pissed everybody in the stadium off, like to the point where they couldn't handle it.
One play in the first inning against a team that scored 7 the night before. Right. What are you so concerned about? It was a great play in the first inning. Like, calm down.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I don't know if I wouldn't celebrate after making a play like that, though. I maybe not to that extent, but like that was crazy. But yeah,
Sal Perez.
Love Sal. Salvi
Let's
ties
go.
it up.
And you saw it.
let's go.
TBS had on the ump cam for that pitch too, so you could see it from the ump's perspective. It was torched.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the vapor trail on it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yep, he'll be a Sherbout Hall of Famer when his time comes too. All right,
I
And
mean,
another guy like a
absolutely,
Joey Votto.
absolutely. Maybe you could look at it and be like a top 3 Kansas City Royal of all time.
Yep. Oh, yeah,
Maybe
he's
top 2.
yeah,
probably
maybe
Mount
absolutely.
Rushmore.
Maybe. Oh, definitely. You could say like George Brett, Sal Perez.
I don't even
Right?
think that's up for debate. I think you're right. I think it's Brett and Perez.
And a guy like
Yeah.
Votto, who is like universally loved by the fans because he's like a big goofball out there.
Yeah, did you see him out playing wiffle ball with like kids in the neighborhood?
Yeah.
He's the
like,
man.
other
He's the
day?
man.
It's friggin'
And he
man.
gives the best interviews.
Okay.
He's funny as hell. Like he's just
Yeah.
doesn't take himself too seriously. The fans
He's
love
just a
him.
big kid. He's just a
Exactly.
big kid out there playing baseball.
He is an
Yeah.
ambassador for the game, like Joey Votto.
Dude, that ball was tanked.
Yeah,
but-
it was ripped.
All right. Let's get over to the AL now. So Tigers and Guardians. This Tigers team is interesting to me. I love watching them. AJ,
quit.
talk about a manager that has a chokehold on what his players can do. He puts his players in every position possible to succeed. And if that's pinch hitting 9 guys the third time around the lineup comes up, that's what he does. He mixes and matches his bullpen to the lineups. Like his pregame preparation has to be elite because he knows what he's going to do, and then he can also turn on a dime if the game starts going in a different direction. But game 1 aside, because game 1, Guardians came out, score 5 in the first. Lane Thomas 3-run homer.
You didn't have a chance.
No, so Guardians win
Steamrolled.
game 1. Yeah, so that really wasn't a game at all.
Well, and the Tigers were kind of accepting that. They were setting up the rotation to make sure Scooble's on the same rest. Like they were accepting
Yeah.
game 1 could be ugly.
Yeah. So yeah, Guardians roll through game 1. Game 2, like you said, they line up Scooble, and I mean, if you're a baseball fan and you haven't watched this guy pitch yet, I wouldn't even call yourself a baseball fan because this dude could be one of the best left-handed pitchers we've seen in a long time with what he's
dude,
doing right now.
I think I told, I don't know if Harrison was on yet, but I told Nick, I took him at 7+ Ks. It was the easiest money I ever made. It was the easiest
Yeah.
bet of all time.
Yeah.
7+, and he had 3 through 2 innings, and then came out and struck out the side in the 4th. He had 6 through 4, and I was like, "Oh my, this is the easiest money of all time."
And
And it was swings and misses were insane. The changeup is disgusting. You can't touch the fastball. He can locate the fastball anywhere.
Yeah.
Anywhere. Up in the zone, down in the zone, inside, outside, both to lefties and righties. And then the changeup is absolutely devastating. Devastating. He throws it in any count for a strike at any time.
and
It's
doesn't even bust it out to the 3rd inning either because he doesn't
And-
have
He
to.
doesn't have to.
Right.
Do you want to know my favorite thing about watching him pitch? He is so quick.
Yes.
Get
This
the ball,
dude
throw the ball.
is the human. He is the human pitch clock. He does not care. Pitch
Did
the
you-
ball, get it back. Oh, you want me to throw that? Okay, because all my pitches are nasty. I can throw all of them for strikes, and all of them are unhittable. So it's like whatever you want me to throw, I'm going to throw it. I'm going to dot it, and let's move on. He is so quick and efficient. And I'm sorry, last thing, Nick, and then I'll let you go. As a hitter, for a guy that is that dominant, disgusting, as much as it must be nice to be like, okay, we're in the rhythm, it's got to suck because like you only have one chance to call time. And by the time you catch your breath, the at-bat's over.
Yeah.
Like he puts so much stress on these hitters. It's insane.
There was one point in the game, a Guardians player fouled one down the right field line. So their right fielder ran all the way over to the stands to try to make a play, couldn't quite get there. Scooble had already gotten the ball and was mid-pitch
Yeah.
before the right fielder even got back to his position.
Yeah.
It was just like, he's just flying.
Well, he's like, I
through
don't need the right fielder because I'm going to strike this guy out anyway. So like, let's just keep this train moving.
Yeah,
Like, I don't
do
need the
your
right
thing, man. Take your time. I got you. Because
Like,
it does. I mean,
yeah.
he doesn't. He'll throw a change up in the first inning. You won't see it again for a couple innings. Like he throws whatever he senses or feels or wants, and he doesn't have to. He doesn't have to throw every pitch in every at bat because his stuff is just so good. And he's like, Yeah, I'd say he's like vintage Kershaw, but he's probably even better than that.
Yeah.
The way he just has command and control, like he can do whatever he wants, whenever he wants. He's never flustered. He's always in control. He works at that crazy speed that must drive hitters crazy because they never get comfortable. They never get a chance to get set. Some of these guys are like moving their feet around. They're still trying to get ready, and he's already in the windup. Like it's just so fun to watch him.
When you make I would say elite hitter in Jose Ramirez look foolish on a changeup, like you got something because
he's good, crazy. Man. And you saw it today when he's dialed in and locked in like he was today. It was perfect through 5. I don't think it was the 6th inning. I think when Josh Naylor hit that double, I think it was perfect through 5. Yeah. Even his misses, like when he's locked in, his misses are just outside or just low. He's not missing in the middle of the plate. Right. So like even when he's not dotting it exactly where he wants, it's not going to hurt him. Right. And it's like, I mean, I was rooting for the Tigers. I had him for 7+ games. Like I was enjoying that. If I were a Guardians fan, I probably would have turned the TV off. I would like give me an alert when he's out, and then like I'll just watch the game when the bullpen's going, because it's like it's got to be so frustrating just to watch him. His misses are very minuscule, and they're in places that aren't going to hurt him. And what can you do? Right. He very, very, very rarely is the ball in the middle of the plate. It's hard to hurt him.
He misses on the black, but it's still the middle third, and he still breaks your bat. Like it's crazy.
Naylor got him on a miss, put it in the gap for a double, and that was about it. That's all you got.
That's it. Yeah. You got one shot only to get this guy.
So,
and if you're the Tigers, how good do you feel when he steps on the mound?
Oh, he's free and easy.
That's got to be such a massive confidence boost. You don't have to do a lot because he's got you.
Did I just put him out for game 3? You're probably still going to win. Like, I mean, come on, man.
I'm not sure who's hitting him. I'm not sure who's going to hit him.
I mean, so speaking about unhittable, like the Guardians bullpen has got really some weapons in there. And then
some electric fastballs too. They just jump out of the hands.
Crazy. So they get into a little trouble in the 8th inning. They bring in Class A, and Class A gets out of the 8th and then gives up back-to-back singles in the 9th, and Kerry Carpenter comes up and takes a hanging slider. I say hanging slider at 94 miles an hour. I mean, it's disgusting that he can throw a slider at 94.
It can't hang at that speed.
No, but Carpenter put Carpenter hit a moonshot. Like that thing was up there forever. It traveled. And they take a 3-0 lead, and that's all the Tigers needed for game 2. So they go back to Detroit 1-1.
Who was the color guy on that game? Do you remember?
Dude,
no.
Okay, that's all right, because he had made a comment. So as Carpenter was, get down, and hit the gap.
Beautiful. Your boy Tommy Pham 2-1.
Yeah, my friend. So as Carpenter was rounding the bases, and it was, I thought, a great point by him. He said, I wonder how many times during the regular season now as unhittable and dominant. I mean, one of the best relief pitcher performances we've seen in a long time this year by Class A. And he said, I wonder how many times in the regular season Class A threw 3 consecutive sliders.
Huh.
And it's like, that's a great point, because he did. One, I think the first one was right on the corner, just missed. I think the second one was just very wide, completely overthrown. And then the third one kind of hung up there. I could have had the first 2 backed up. But essentially, he threw 3 straight, and that third one was a hanger. And Carpenter was ready for it. He had seen the previous 2, and he was sitting on the third one, and he threw, and it just got absolutely torched. And that's a good point. Like, I wonder, like, does he have the feel? How many times? When was the last time he threw 3 consecutive? Because he never had to, because the fastball and the sinker were so dominant, or the cutter and the fastball were so dominant. And likely, the first 2 sliders would probably get weak contact, pop up, whatever. He just wasn't accustomed. It was just a kind of a situation that he wasn't accustomed to. And boy, did Carpenter step up. And they talked about it before he came up, that this is far and away the Tigers' best hitter with runners in scoring position. They had a graphic on the screen they popped up that said this year with 2 outs in runners in scoring position, this dude was hitting like 324 or something like that. It's like, how do you not want this guy to play? What an unbelievable young hitter that guy is, man. This Tigers team is a little ahead of where they're supposed to be. This team is no joke for the next 3-4 years.
And
no
let this sink in for a minute. During the regular season, Class A, in 74 innings pitched, gave up 10 runs and 2 home runs. Like, he doesn't give up runs. He doesn't give up home runs. That's a massive at bat to be able to take him deep, and he hadn't given up any runs since August.
That's
Yeah, crazy.
bonkers.
It was like
That's
August 20
bonkers.
something or August 30th was the last time he gave up a run.
Yeah,
He was 0 for the Major League Baseball was 0 for September against him.
That's bonkers.
I mean, it's ridiculous. That is such a big hit in that spot because nobody has gotten him.
To your point, Sean, this Tigers team, I am going to be watching them in the offseason because, they made a move with Jack Flaherty. Yeah, he was kind of taken off the scrap heap, in free agency. I wonder, even if they exit here in the divisional round, I wonder what the Tigers do in the offseason to get a bona fide number 2 to back up Tariq Skubal. All talks around the deadline was Skubal could be out. They were thinking about shipping him out. They kept him. They make the playoffs in that crazy run. It will be interesting to see what they do in the offseason here for sure. I'm going to keep my eye on them.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, ultimately it's going to come down to, how much money does the owner want to spend? Kind of what are they allowed to go get? Because off the top, I'll have to look it up. I don't know if you guys have it up or know off the top of your head, what we're looking at as far as free agent starting pitchers on the market next year. But, I imagine they're going to be out there. I imagine there's going to be some guys out there that you can go get, and with the young hitters, with the Riley Greens and the Kerry Carpenters and the Colt Keiths. And, they got some young position players out there that they have control over for a number of years. You can get Skubal a bona fide number 2. I mean, we're talking maybe one solidified bullpen piece away from let's run this thing back next year and be favorites. This team is not far away.
No, you have at the top you have Corbin Burns.
Could you imagine that combo?
Garrett Cole can opt out. Blake Snell can opt out. Max Fried's a free agent. Flaherty's a free agent, so he could go back. But I would say the top of the rotation guys, if you wanted to take a flyer on Bieber, maybe, I don't know. He's hurt way too much. But
he can't stay healthy. Yeah, right.
No. Severino's a free agent. But I would say your top guys are Burns and then Cole and Snell if they choose to opt out.
You need to package Javi Baez and a prospect or two and just see if you can dump that contract and go spend some money somewhere else. That $25 million a year, he's a quarter of their payroll all by himself. That payroll the other day that started was an $18 million payroll. That one game. It's ridiculous because he's not in it. But that whole team is $98 million. He's 25 of it. Kenta Maeda is 14 million of it. You got $39 million tied up in those two guys. That's basically half your payroll, coming up on half your payroll.
40%,
and you're getting nothing from those guys, really.
No. So I think the Tigers are okay with that at this moment.
The sad part is you're better off to pay Javi Baez to sit than play.
Right.
Yeah, at this moment they're okay with it, but it's starting next year we got to come up with a plan because we can't do this for 162.
3-1.
We got to have a plan for next year.
Yeah. Let's go. Royals just scored again on 3-1.
Yeah, they sure
Garrett Hampson.
All right, so let's get over to that Royals-Yankees series here. Game 1, Royals kind of shot themselves with a foot. They walked 8?
100 guys.
9.
Yeah, they walked 8 and two of them were runs.
They were bases loaded walks. So that's you can't expect to beat a team like the Yankees or any team really if you walk 8 guys, especially in a playoff situation. You just can't do it.
And that's not their MO too, which is frustrating. That was just a really rough game for them.
Yeah. However, they were still in the game. I mean, they were in the game. Even walking 8, they were in the game. And let's get to this Jazz Chisholm steal, quote unquote, steal of second base. It was a high throw by Perez. It makes a great play to jump up. The second baseman makes a great play to jump up and somehow still get the tag down on Jazz's ankle. He's initially called safe on the field. They immediately challenge it. And from the camera angles that we had watching the game, it looked like Jazz wasn't on the base whatsoever. You could see daylight between his foot and second base. The call goes to New York, and New York comes back and they say the call on the field stands.
Pretty quickly, by the way. Like
Yeah.
it didn't last very long.
Yeah.
It was strange.
And then Jazz ultimately comes around and scores the winning
Scores
run.
the winning run. Yeah. Which
So-
at first I wasn't entirely sure he touched home plate. And there wasn't very good views of it.
There
Right.
wasn't.
But yeah. But yeah.
So
Hey,
what
listen,
are-
go ahead.
I was just going to say, what is your view on that call? Because the camera angles that we had, it looked like he wasn't on the base at all. Like, I mean, it looked like his left foot was to the right of second base, and there was space in between it, and the tag was on his ankle. To me, he was out from the cameras that we saw.
It certainly looked that way. I mean, who was it? Was it Ronnie Darling that was doing the game?
I think so.
Pretty sure, yeah.
And I think he's the one that mentioned, like, it looks pretty clear as day to us that there's daylight in between the cleat and the bag.
Yeah. The announcers were calling him out. They were convinced.
Yeah, and he said, they even came out and said, that wasn't conclusive. And Darling came out and said, I don't care what they call it, it was wrong. Like, he was adamant. That they were wrong.
Right.
Earlier in the postseason, though, I don't remember which game it was. Probably one of the Mets and Brewers games, but they were talking about how New York, where it goes for reviews, has so many different angles. Like they have dozens, let's say, of camera angles throughout the ballpark that they use. So supposedly that kind of the inference that I got was that the TV view that we see when they review something on TV and show us the replay is only a small number of potential angles. Oh, what are we doing here? What are we doing?
Oh.
I mean, that was a nice play, but
yeah.
Only a small number of potential angles that they have in New York. Now, I assume that's like that in every ballpark. I assume it's not just some ballparks have great angles and some ballparks don't. I would imagine that in the playoffs, every ballpark has the same, if not very similar number of angles. And I don't know, maybe they had access to an angle that muddied the water, so to speak. Maybe they had access to an angle that really wasn't as clear. I think it was the wrong call. I mean, I think certainly from what we saw, it looked like he slid and he tried that pop-up slide before he reached the bag. I mean, to me, it looked pretty clear.
Yeah, he slid
I would
short.
bet on 99 out of 100 times that you look at that and everybody in the bar is like, yeah, he didn't reach the bag. He's out.
Yeah,
so,
I was going to say that.
I don't know. I mean, I thought it was the wrong call, but, you got to give them a little bit of, they get paid too. So you got to give them, maybe they do have an extra angle, an extra couple angles that muddied the water for them. I thought it was the wrong call, and I thought it was unfortunate for the Royals because, as you said, Nick, that turns out to be the winning run.
Right.
And that's where it becomes unfortunate. So.
Yeah, and what stinks is that I think 99 out of 100 people are going to say he's out. The one person that doesn't is a Yankees fan. But the sad part is that that's the deciding run in a game where that shouldn't have been the deciding run because the Royals really just gave it away.
Yeah.
And that I think is the biggest missed opportunity. That being able to take that first game in New York completely changes the complexion of that series for the Royals, and losing it like that, where it was, sloppy with all the walks, the tough call, it just makes for a tough night when in reality you never should have been there to begin with. That game should have been under control. And you should have been cruising.
Yeah. It was tough. So game 2 right now, they're up. Is it 4-1 now?
4-1.
4-1 Royals are up.
So,
yep.
So nice. So we'll see how.
I mean, listen, I'm telling you, man, 2024, this Royals team, I know, Harrison, you picked them to win the division, but, I thought they were maybe 1 or 2 years away, similar to that Tigers. Not only are they in the postseason, yes, they kind of backed their way in, right? They were not playing good baseball down the stretch.
Oh,
they go to Baltimore, they win 2 low-scoring games. They're now in Yankee Stadium, slugging with the Yankees, putting runs on the board. They don't seem too big. The moment doesn't seem too big for them. They don't seem phased. They don't seem like they're in over their heads. I mean, win, lose this particular series, like as a Royal fan, like you got to be stoked with where your team is and around these young kids. Pasquatch isn't even 100%. Wait till this guy gets to be 100%. Again, win or lose, you got to be pretty happy with where you're at. It looks, by all accounts, I mean, it's early, but it looks like that they have a really good chance here at evening up this series and going back to Kansas City 1-1. I mean, that'd be incredible.
Yeah. And let's be honest, like signing Bobby Witt Jr. to that 11-year extension, the Royals franchise is telling the rest of the league that, listen, this kid ain't going anywhere. If you want to come win and be successful and play with one of the best in the game, our doors are open.
Mhm.
Like, come and play with this kid. Like, the Royals I think are here to stay. They're going to be good for a while. So
Yeah. And I
Yeah,
want to say,
I mean, I
they're
think
gonna be
it's all about the buy-in from the ownership, and you got to get the right front office people. You know,
Yep.
you get the right buy-in, man. I mean, this is a team that you can surround. You know, Bobby Witt's locked up forever. You know,
Yep.
I don't know what Reagan's contract situation looks like, but you got yourself an ace there. Hopefully you can lock him up long term and build around that. I mean, that's two huge pieces that a lot of teams don't have. You know,
Right.
so that's you got a leg up on the rest of that division there. You got pieces like that.
yeah, for sure. And I want to say it was either Passan or Rosenthal was saying that like all the pressure in the series is on the Yankees because the Yankees' two kind of biggest hurdles to get through were Houston and Baltimore, who both got taken out. And now the world looks at the Yankees as the clear number one seed in the AL. This is the first time they've had what looks like an easier path to the World Series than they've had in past years. And all the pressure's on them to deliver. Like if there's ever a year you're going to go, this is the year because the two toughest teams are gone. And I that's the way that the New York media is talking about, the national media is talking about. This is the year for the Yankees because it's an easier path. But I think they are highly underestimating those teams that are left because what the Guardians, the Tigers, and the Royals don't have in star power, they have in toughness. They're gritty, and they just don't quit. And they play solid baseball. The Yankees consistently rely on the 3-run home run. They strike out too much. The pitching's inconsistent. I mean, Rodon getting hit hard tonight. They don't get what they need in the playoffs because they're just not built for it. And we've said this for like 3 years now. The Yankees keep following the same failed plan of building a roster, and they end up in the same spot every year. But like, there's definitely pressure on this team to deliver this year because everybody feels like, well, this has got to be the year because the Astros and Orioles can't stop them.
Yeah. Crazy. All right.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this to kind of just put a pin in it. You know, I agree with you on all that, but that was a team in Game 1 that wasn't relying on 3-run home runs and took the walks and took 8 of them and found a way to win a game. So if anything, I mean, if I'm in that clubhouse, that tells us, hey, we don't need to rely on this shit. Like we can go station to station. We do now have some of these roster guys that can get up there. Of course, Juan Soto's going to hit you home runs, but boy, does he command a strike zone. So let's use that, right? And Alex Verdugo, for all his faults, commands a strike zone pretty well. Doesn't really, doesn't swing and miss a ton. Doesn't exactly hit the ball on the screws every time. But these are types of guys throughout your lineup that if you sprinkle in there, now you get guys on base for the Juan Sotos, for the Judges. Obviously it's a simple formula at that point. So this is a team that the way that they won Game 1, not just that they won Game 1, but the way that they won Game 1 does give you a little bit of a different feel. And then you get to Game 2, and here we go with the pitching, just the inconsistent pitching. You have a chance to put a stranglehold on a series. Rodon comes out. Nick and I before we got on, we're watching some of this, and this guy's just humming the strike zone. I think his first 28 pitches, I think he had 25 strikes. I mean, this guy was just in the zone all day, and he can't keep away from the middle of the zone. He's getting hit hard, and now you're in your bullpen in the bottom of the 4th. So
yep. The flip side of it is Raggins. Here we are, 3 1/3. He's got 4 walks because
80 pitches.
Yeah, he's nibbling. I mean, they're nibbling because there is the fear that the ball is going to leave the yard. You've got to attack because the Royals are going to be in their bullpen in the 4th or 5th inning at this rate.
Well, either way, if the Royals win this, we got 4 series at 1-1. This divisional round could shape up to be instant classic in the playoffs. And we kind of said this at the beginning. It's like, we like these matchups. Like, these matchups could be really, really good series, and they're shaping up to be fun baseball to watch for sure. So, all right.
It's been last year. I felt like this round was a little bit disappointing. This year, absolutely not. It's been great.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. I have one news thing before we get to some postseason trivia. Terry Francona comes out of retirement and is in as the Reds manager. I saw a little interview with him today. They said that the Reds front office kind of went to him, and Francona said that he just needed the year off to, concentrate on his health. He said he was kind of being cranky in the clubhouse and stuff. And he goes, when a manager's being cranky, you can't, like it was time for me to step away. So that's why he decided to take the year off. And then Reds came to him. He said they met with him for 5-6 hours. And he said it just felt right. And that's why he ultimately went back and is now the Reds manager. But, I mean, interesting.
Yeah, I'm about to be the biggest Reds fan outside of the city of Cincinnati because I absolutely freaking love Francona. Yeah. I absolutely effing love that guy. I just a baseball guy through and through. Just baseball guy. Just from the minute he was born to the day that he dies, he's just an all-time baseball guy. I think his managerial, I think, speaks for itself. His career, his ability to win pretty much everywhere he's managed, his ability to get a great pulse on a locker room from early on, and get a good pulse on the clubhouse, and get those guys to kind of be the best versions that they can be. I mean, did it in Boston, did it in Cleveland. I have no doubt he's going to do it in Cincinnati. So that's awesome. I'm happy for him, man. I'm happy for him. And I'm happy for the Reds. They got a legitimate manager. Not that
they
Bell
did.
wasn't. I mean, I think Bell did a nice job. But we talked about the timing behind it was bizarre. Well, they kind of helped themselves out here by going out and getting a Terry Francona here. They kind of made that all look a lot better. And
quick. They moved quick. And Barstool Sports had the best headline today. An article I put up an hour or two ago. And the headline is Terry Francona's introductory press conference was a perfect reminder that baseball is so much better with Tito back in the dugout.
Amen.
Like he's just so well respected around the game. And like you said, Sean, such a baseball guy. He's great with young players, as you saw with Cleveland. And I think people forget too, he was in Cleveland a long time. Like it wasn't like that he was there for a few years and then decided to retire. He was there for a long time. And he needed a break, which
a lot longer than Boston.
Totally makes sense. And I think the Reds got their man. I think he's going to be great for them for the next few years. If anybody can develop that group of kids, it's Tito. And I agree. Baseball is just better with him around. Just is. Yeah. He's just such a great baseball guy.
So now the David Bell firing doesn't seem like poor timing. Like the Reds knew what they were doing. They're like,
well, sure.
Like,
well, they still did Bell dirty, but
they did. And Tito wasn't. And there's no like tampering or anything. Tito wasn't part of another organization. Like you could have let Bell finish out the year and still done this exactly the same way. Like it doesn't. It doesn't take the stink off the timing. It just makes you kind of forget about the timing a little bit because like, well, they got their guy.
Well, yeah. Well, and maybe that's what they wanted to do was get to Tito before. Maybe there was rumors going around saying Tito wants to come back, and the Reds just wanted to jump the gun there.
Maybe that could have been a move to Tito. That could have been a way of saying to Tito, "Hey, like we're serious about not bringing this guy back next year." Like that could have been a kind of a flag to Tito to be like, "Hey, look what we're doing over here. We fired this guy. We mean business." Maybe that type of thing.
And that's all I meant by that is like now the timing doesn't necessarily seem as fishy. Does it still suck for Bell? Yeah, for sure.
They still did him dirty, but
sure. But they at least sounds like they had a plan in place for this to happen. So that's cool. I'm glad to see it.
Just great move.
Yeah.
I've liked the Reds the last couple of years. I'm really gonna love the Reds now.
Yeah.
Same.
Man. All right. Are we ready for some postseason trivia?
Sure. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Go here. All right. Here we go.
Even some nice graphics, Nick. Well done.
Yeah, it has the date behind trivia, but I blacked it out. So
totally fine.
Yeah. All right. So here we go. First one. Which player has the most career postseason steals in MLB history?
Ooh. So you don't need to say Ricky here, but it's not
Ricky.
A
red.
It's not a red.
Philly.
Not Philly.
Indians.
Indians.
Lofton.
Kenny Lofton.
It is Kenny Lofton. Yep, 34 steals.
I would have thought more. I mean, 34 is a lot for the postseason. Don't get me wrong, but I would have thought Kenny Lofton had more.
Well, he would have had more if that Indians team would have made it to the World Series a couple more times.
And also, they didn't have all the same rounds either. So there was that too. But all right, Kenny Lofton.
Okay. Who holds the MLB record for most career innings pitched in the postseason?
Pettit.
It is Pettit.
Oh, good call.
276 and 2/3. That's
absurd.
It's an insane amount of
That
innings.
is a ridiculous amount.
That's a season worth of a season and more now.
Yeah,
because
same.
pitchers only average 160 or so.
Wow,
like-
that's a lot of innings.
Yeah, crazy.
Helps you in the playoffs every single season.
Yeah. All right. 2 players are tied with the most at-bats in a single postseason with 77. The years in which they did it are 2011 and 2020. Who are they?
Is one of them Beltre?
Nope.
Kike Hernandez,
No.
because that 2020 Dodgers team.
So 2020, this guy was on an absolute tear, and his team made it to the World Series.
So it's what, Tampa and LA?
Rosarena?
Yeah, Arozarena's one.
Okay, there we go. 2011.
2011. That's why I was thinking Beltre with Texas.
Yeah, that would have made sense.
No,
Michael Young?
It's the Dodgers,
Oh.
and it's a leadoff guy, but he spent most of his career with the Braves.
So not okay.
Shortstop.
For call?
For call.
Yes. Yeah. Rafael Furcal and Randy Arozarena.
He had 77 postseason at bats in 2011.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
wild.
How
Yeah.
far did they go in 2011?
So I don't know. I don't remember what I did yesterday, so I don't know.
No, I'm surprised.
Yeah.
No, it's
Yeah.
good. That's a good one.
Crazy. All right. Who holds the record for most RBIs in a single postseason with 22? This was just achieved last year.
Judge? No, Jesus.
Oh, geez. Okay.
Judge doesn't have 2, let alone 22.
Seager?
Nope. Right team though.
Simeon?
Nope.
The muscle
Adolis.
man.
Adolis Garcia.
Adolis.
Yeah, Adolis Garcia.
As soon as I'm saying, I'm like, oh no, the dude that hit the grand slam. Yes, it's Garcia.
Yeah, Adolis Garcia. Good.
He's a beast.
All right. 2 players are tied for the most runs in a single postseason with 21. The years they did it was 2004 and 2021. Who are they?
That's a lot of runs.
Both players were on the Astros.
Oh,
Altuve won.
Altuve's the one in 21. Yep.
$2,004.
Carlos Lee, 2004.
Oh, you have the Carlos right, but not Lee.
Is it Gonzalez or Gomez?
Nope.
Who are you
forget that he got traded here at the deadline.
Oh, Beltran.
From
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
I
Yeah.
do forget he got traded there at the deadline.
Yeah.
And he
I
had
thought
a
I nailed it
monster
with Carlos
postseason.
Lee.
I
Yeah,
thought
it was
you
a
had it
great
too.
guess. Yep. But yeah, Carlos Beltran, Jose Altuve.
Sean was cleaning up that category.
Yep. All right. Next one. Who holds the record for most career RBIs in the postseason?
Ortiz.
No,
Bernie Williams.
it is Bernie Williams.
I was gonna say Bernie Williams or Jeter.
Because he's
Gonna be
played
my
like
two.
a bazillion
Billion
playoff games.
yeah.
Yeah. Bernie
Supposedly
Williams.
the nicest man of all time too, Bernie Williams.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got
Supposedly
so many
super nice guy.
postseason records because of how many games he played.
All those Yankees do. It's
And he
crazy.
plays a hell of a guitar.
Yeah. All right. Who holds the record for most innings pitched in a single postseason?
Could you give me the year? Do you have it?
I don't have the year, but probably I'll give you a year range. Hold on, let's see.
He's not confident with his range.
No, I'm not.
Is this Astros or what team is this?
It'll give it away, but it's Giants.
Oh,
So I was gonna say like 14, 15, 16.
Lincecum.
Not Lincecum.
Schmidt.
Nope.
Oh,
Madison
Kane.
Bumgarner.
is it,
Yes,
oh, Bumgarner. Yeah, say
Bumgarner,
either
yes.
Bumgarner or Kane. Those guys pitched a boatload.
Yeah. 52 and 2/3 innings in a single postseason.
Jesus. Yeah.
Well,
That
he was
wasn't
pitching out
his
of the
rookie-
bullpen.
Didn't he
like
do it
on-
his rookie year?
It
Wasn't
might
that his
have
rookie
been.
year?
It could have been.
I'm
I'd
pretty sure.
have to
pretty sure
look
that
it
was
up.
like coming out party.
Well, and if I remember correctly, like he would make bullpen appearances like on his bullpen days. He just pitches bullpen from the mound.
Still the weirdest thing of all time that in high school Madison Bumgarner dated a girl named Madison Bumgarner. I that will never not be weird for me. Did you ever hear that?
Yeah, that is kind of weird.
That is weird.
I can't hear the name and not be like, that's just weird.
Mad
Every
Bum.
time. He was really good.
He was good, and he was like certifiably.
And he could
insane.
rake. He could
could
rake
hit.
at the plate.
Yes, he
Yeah.
could. And he was nuts.
Here we go. Postseason pitching.
Nice job, John. John in the chat got it too.
Nice. No, it was 2014.
Oh,
So
Oh, wow.
he threw 9 innings in the wild card, 7 in the division series, 15 and 2/3 in the championship series, and 21 in the World Series.
yeah, he was like pitching out of the bullpen too. I think like it was crazy.
Yeah.
Dude, just
Crazy.
give me the ball.
Yeah. All right. 1994 was supposed to be the first year of the expanded playoff, meaning one wild card team from each league. Which 2 teams were in line to win the wild card before the strike happened?
Well, the Expos were like leading baseball, so it wasn't them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah,
the
they're the
colors
best.
are, the Expos.
They were the best team.
St. Louis,
No, not St. Louis.
Cincy.
Nope.
94.
These teams were also successful like throughout the 90s.
Seattle won.
No, not
Bra-
Seattle.
Braves,
Braves is 1.
Yankees.
No. This team made the World Series in 97 but lost.
Yankees. No, you said Yankees.
In '97 was the Marlins, and who did they beat?
Hold on. We know
Indians?
this.
Indians.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a second. '97 was the Indians.
Yeah. Braves and Indians. Yep. Good.
Bring back Chief Wahoo.
Right. All right. In the years 2000, 2014, and 2023 have been the only times that both World Series teams were what?
Wild cards.
Yes, wild cards. Good. Both were wild card teams.
That's pretty impressive.
Yep. The wording on that question is weird, but it's the only way I can do it. All right. With a wild card series starting in 2012, every team but the Anaheim Angels have made at least one appearance. Which 3 teams have not won a single wild card series?
Since 2012. The Mariners.
No.
So which 3 teams have made it
And never won.
but never won it? Pittsburgh?
No.
The Brewers?
Brewers are one.
Brewers.
Say that one feels like it should just jump
Wait,
out.
with the wild card series starting every team. You're telling me the Pittsburgh Pirates since 2012 have won a wild card series?
I believe so. I got to double check it. Got it. Yeah. Oh, there we go. I gave it to you.
Yeah.
I mean, I already had it. I was just waiting to guess the White Sox and Reds.
Yeah, White Sox, Reds, and Brewers. So obviously the Brewers because they can't get past the wild card. But yeah, White Sox and Reds.
Interesting.
The other 2. Crazy. That was a little clumsy. My bad. All right.
Good.
Derek Jeter hit the most singles during his career in the postseason with 143. Who is second on the list was 79.
That's a lot of singles.
Derek Jeter had the most singles. I'm sorry, I was Googling something. Derek Jeter had the most singles during this.
Is it Bernie?
It's not Bernie.
Altuve?
Sing-
Nope. Altuve has
Johnny-
like 78 right now. Like he's
Oh,
Johnny
Jeez.
Damon.
not Johnny Damon. This guy just retired recently. We always say he's going to be a good manager someday if he decides to do it.
Yachty?
Yachty.
Yachty, yeah. Yachty and Molina. Yes, sir.
Gotta love Yachty.
All right. Who are the top 5 players with the most career home runs in the postseason?
So it's Altuve, Schwarber.
Yep.
Yeah. So real quick, I just looked. So in 2013, so you said the wild card series started in 2012, right?
Yes.
No, so I don't think so because in 2013, they beat the Reds in a wild card game. They won the game 6-2, and then they lost in the NLDS to the Cardinals. And then it just has wild card games. We'll have to workshop that one.
Yeah, we'll see.
Okay.
All right.
Sorry.
Who are the top 5 players with the most career home runs in the postseason?
All right. So it's Altuve and Schwarber are definitely in the top 5.
Yep.
It's not like a broken record, but is Bernie in the top 5?
Bernie is in the top 5. Yep.
Okay.
22.
Bryce.
Schwarber's 21. No, not Bryce. Schwarber's got 21. Bernie Williams got 22. Altuve's got 27. You're missing number 1 and missing number 5.
Is Ortiz on the top 5?
No, but a teammate of his was.
Manny.
Yeah, man.
Oh,
He's got 29.
Yeah, I should have known Manny was number 1.
And another guy with a bajillion postseason games.
Paul O'Neill.
No, right team, but
Oh, Posada?
no.
Damn.
Come on, the captain.
Oh, Jeter?
Yeah. Yep. So this list
Jeter's
isn't.
20 career postseason
I know.
home runs.
I
Yeah.
almost can't believe it.
Yep. So this list, for all you viewers, before you bite my head off, I made this list before Schwarber homered yesterday, so he's got 21. So, yeah. So Schwarber is now in sole possession of 4th place on this list. So, yes.
I cannot believe Jeter has that many postseason home runs.
I know.
Crazy.
I never would have in a million years guessed him.
Yeah. Who holds the MLB record for most career strikeouts in the postseason?
Most careers. That's a lot. Is this a
I mean,
Houston orange or is it Giants orange or?
It's a Houston orange, and he's still active.
Verlander?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
I
gonna
mean,
be
it's
my
those-
guess, but I'm like, I better confirm
those-
it's not the Giants.
Those types of postseason things, like, it's just back in the day, you won the pennant, you went to the World Series. Like, you just didn't throw the number of postseason innings that these current guys are throwing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Same with the
there were
bats
no
for
3
singles
rounds.
and home runs. Yeah, you didn't play. You could get bounced in the World Series, play 20-something games, almost.
Yeah, Listen, bud, I don't get me started on this whole thing. Or
We'll go toe to toe on this for as long as this podcast is alive.
oh
I don't know
God.
how anyone can look at that play and say that it was unnecessary and that he could have stopped. He was running full speed, lunges forward, takes 2 steps, and the wall is low enough that takes him out at the knees.
I wish I had some
Anybody
popcorn.
that thinks that Like, is this a cartoon where it's like Wile E. Coyote is supposed to just put the brakes on? Like, he's running full speed lunges for the ball.
He caught the ball in fair territory, Sean.
Okay, this is. I mean, I can't. This is no. He did not catch the ball in fair territory.
Yeah, I will show you the
What?
video. Yes, he did.
There is no way. I'm gonna look it up. There's no way he was in fair territory when he caught it.
I wish I had popcorn. This would be a lot more fun.
I am.
All right, moving on. We got trivia to finish,
1000%
boys.
Sure.
We
Okay.
got trivia to finish,
Anyways.
boys. Let's go.
Thanks for that, John. All right, moving on.
Way to get things started,
Oh.
John.
Obviously, Mariano Rivera holds the record for most career saves in the postseason with 42. Weird, it's that number. Who is
Yeah.
second on
Yeah,
the
it is.
list with 20?
Papelbon.
No.
Oh, good guess.
Hmm.
Postseason saves at 20.
We
What?
have to. We have to.
It doesn't matter how
Okay,
fast.
so who's
It
second
doesn't
on the
matter.
list?
Like anybody that's running full speed, like the speed at which he was running doesn't matter. The fact that he's running at his full speed, like if I'm running at my full speed, I can't just slam the brakes on. It's not the miles per hour that he's going. It's the fact that he's getting himself at full speed.
We'll get into it after this question. All right, who's
So-
I
second
mean,
on the list? with 20?
I'm not saying I never said that he was Usain Bolt.
I got you.
Well, I don't think you do. I think you're getting to rile me up here. This is ridiculous. I never said he was Usain Bolt. I'm saying anybody that's running at their capacity of full speed isn't just going to slam the brakes on while they're lunging forward. Forward.
Yeah. Well, I would have slid to make the play and then protected myself instead of doing that. But
So
that's
is the answer
And
Brian
that
Wilson?
could be a different argument. That can
It's
be
not.
a different argument.
It's not Brian Wilson.
Deep breath, Sean.
I don't even. Hold on. I gotta
This-
read this freaking question. Hold on.
Got to reorient himself.
This guy is also current.
Oh,
Aroldis?
No. It's not a bad guess, but not him.
it's not.
It's Dodger Blue, but he's not currently on
Kenley.
the Dodgers.
It's Kenley.
It is.
It's
It is
Kenley.
Kenley.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is Kenley. All right.
Interesting end with his Red Sox tenure.
Yeah. So that's all I had. But yeah. Derek Jeter has the two most overrated plays in baseball history, period.
Yeah.
End of
I'll
story.
give you the flip. The flip one I think is I'm not entirely sure he's out either on the flip.
He's not, and he was out of position. I don't know.
Yeah, what's he doing
what-
there? I'm with you on that. I mean, I do think like the instinct is like crazy to see the ball, but like
Agree.
A, he never should have been there. And B, I think if you had replay then, like the way you have it now with angles, clarity, I'm 90% sure his foot's on the plate. And I don't even know if he tags him, but I don't think he's out.
Yeah, I don't think
Yeah,
so
that was
either.
really close.
But yeah. We will definitely check the tapes after the show because I know for a fact Jeter caught that in fair territory. But yeah. Anyways, do you fellas have anything else for this week before we have an off-air argument?
Oh man, I just got one quick one for you guys.
All right.
So, Baseball Digest and Inside Edge do their annual awards, and Aaron Judge won.
I'm sorry.
player-
I'm sorry. I just watched it. You guys
Oh,
are
God.
nitpicking fair play versus foul play. I never said he was in foul territory. I said he took 2 steps while lunging for the ball. They have no foul territory over there, and that's where the tarp is. So fine, you might be right. Check it on Nick. He was in fair territory. He still had 2 steps going full speed lunging for the ball. Fair territory or not, 2 steps before the wall is 2 steps before the wall. Doesn't matter if it's fair or foul.
But he also didn't need to launch himself 12 rows deep either.
Oh my gosh. Go ahead, Harrison.
So, anyways,
Anyway,
so Baseball Digest and Inside Edge did their voting for the awards, and they Aaron Judge won Player of the Year. Shohei finished second. Bobby Witt finished third. Tariq Skubal was voted the sports top pitcher, and Class A was the unanimous pick for reliever of the year. And this is all voted on by baseball writers, broadcasters, and some former players, managers, and execs. So Aaron Judge, player of the year, Bobby Witt, third, Shohei, second, Skubal, top pitcher, Class A, top reliever.
So you mentioned Bobby Witt. He's 0-4. He was 0-4. No, it's not. No, my logic is not that the stopping time should be the same. My logic is the same amount of effort that it takes you. Like, you're running full speed at 300 and something pounds. To think that you can just stop on the brakes and take a half a yard to stop is crazy with the momentum that they are bringing forward at their full capacity. I'm not saying the same distance to stop. But go back and watch that again and tell me logically, without saying you're a Yankee hater or saying that you hate Derek Jeter or thinking that the play itself is overrated. Just watch that. He's running full speed, lunges to catch the ball, has two steps going full speed on a lunge with a wall that is up mid-shins. Explain to me what else he's supposed to do.
If the net was down all the way to the foul poles, he would have never dove in the stance. He would have been able to stop himself before the net.
No, absolutely not. And if my aunt had nuts, she'd be my uncle. But that's not the way that the thing was set up.
You can't assume that now.
There was no net.
All right.
Speaking of the net, can I ask you guys a question?
Yes.
Did you guys see the play in Milwaukee where Alonso was going over for the ball and the fan pushed on the
guy
net?
pushed it. I did. You know what? I thought I saw it live. But then I was like, well, maybe I didn't. Like, maybe, angles and all that. Like, maybe it just wasn't what I saw. And then when they showed the replay in slow motion, it absolutely happened. That guy definitely pushed it to get in his way.
He pushed it out like a couple of feet.
Yeah.
To actually, and Alonso missed it because he was kind of bumping up against it.
I still would have liked to have seen him make the play, but yes.
Yeah, agreed. But I think that's one side effect of the net MLB really hadn't considered, is that the fans will still try to find a way to interfere if they want to. And that was a situation where it was. And when the umpires looked at it, they were both just kind of like, I don't know, like nothing to call here, when it arguably probably should have been fan interference. Although Alonso probably still should have caught it, but he was definitely interfered with.
I did see that.
That's interesting. I didn't see it. I'll have to go back and look.
Yeah, it was weird. All of a sudden, like, you see this guy's arm like push through the netting right at Alonso.
It was late in game 3, so it was I think the half inning. It was bottom of the 8th. I think it was the half inning before Pete took the lead.
Okay.
Yeah. You have to check the replay. It was interesting to see that, because that's the first time I've seen somebody actually try to use the netting.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd have to call fan interference, right?
I think so.
They didn't. They called nothing.
Yeah.
They just kind of like shrugged their shoulders at each other and called it a foul ball.
Which I think also I know we're kind of butchering the end of this, but I think that's another reason why my brain didn't process what I thought I saw, because like even Pete didn't make a big deal of it.
Right.
Like it was Pete didn't even look to be like, hey, what's going on? Like he just was like, well, I dropped it. Like it was very weird.
Yeah.
Well, maybe he didn't realize what happened, because he's looking up for the ball and he didn't see.
Right. And he may just think he got close to the net. I mean, he may not have necessarily saw that it came out at him.
Yeah.
Correct. Right. Yeah. But it was just, it was
strange
weird.
play.
That is strange. Huh.
And we're not butchering the end of the show. And I think your take on Jeter's butchering the end of this, but
this is crazy.
Anyways, so do you think Aaron Judge gets player of the year over Ohtani, though? I mean, we've never seen a 50-50 season before, and Ohtani's over 300 average, right? But I mean, what is Judge ended at 330 something?
Wasn't it 324?
Yeah,
320. Oh yeah, so
I think the number 324 is in my head for some reason.
Yeah, Judge finished the season 322, 58 and 144. He also scored 122 runs.
Well, okay. 144 runs batted in is pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, 458 OBP and a 7
across the plate.
Yeah, 701 slug. Like he had one of the top few seasons that we've seen
while playing amazing defense in center field.
Okay, that's fair. I mean that's fair. I mean, I wouldn't be upset if it was flip-flopped or whatever. Like I'm fine with that. I was just wondering.
I mean, again, having never seen a 50-50, I mean, it's hard to argue that guy doesn't deserve it.
Right.
I mean, it's hard to be like, you don't deserve it. But I think if it's Judge, I'm sleeping well at night. I don't think anyone got screwed.
No.
Yes, like
Absolutely.
Judge had him on batting average, Judge had him on home runs, Judge had him on RBIs. Shohei had him on runs, but batting leadoff should do that. Shohei had him on stolen bases, and Judge had him on OBP, had him on slug, had him on OPS, like had him on everything else, and was 1.6 WAR higher.
Well, Shohei also has Betts, or Freeman, Will Smith, like everybody like that.
Teoscar.
Right. Teoscar batting behind him to drive his ass in. While Judge is sitting there and be like, all right, Austin, let's sneak a base hit in here.
He's got Stanton half the time and Austin Wells the rest of the time. And really, the guy in that line of the benefits is Soto. Soto's got Judge behind him, and he's got guys on base a lot. Like, I mean, if I'm Soto, I'm feeling pretty good about my spot in that lineup.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't have an issue with that. But. All right. Anything else?
I think that'll do it.
All right. Well, keep your eyes out. There might be another time this week that we randomly pop in and watch some games and hang out with you guys. If you are watching and you would like to join us for like one of the roundtable discussions where we're watching the game and stuff, we can send you the link to get on the show. You can come join us. We'd love to have you on and just talk baseball, and you can bring anything to the table that you want to bring.
Except the Jeter play, apparently.
Yeah.
No, you can bring the Jeter play. I'm just not going quietly. Really fun.
So yeah, if you would like to join us for one of the roundtables, we'll send out a notice when we're gonna go live. We'll figure out a date and we'll live watch one of the games and talk some baseball. So you
Sweet.
are more than welcome to do that. So, but before you go, please make sure you like and follow us on Facebook. You can follow on Instagram, subscribe on YouTube. You can also listen on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. You can comment on our reels, share our reels. We love the interactions. Keep it up. Thanks for commenting in the live chat during our show. We love the interactions and, derailing us sometimes, John. We love that. So keep coming back and keep your eye out. We probably be on one more time this week and then our regular show next Monday.